Episode 1 opens at the royal palace where court lady Kasui praises the exquisite embroidery of imperial concubine Reirin. Despite being ill, Reirin continues to work diligently and cheerfully mentions the upcoming Chixi festival, hoping that wishes made under the meteor shower will come true. At the stargazing ceremony in the inner palace, the concubines gather together with the emperor, empress, and crown prince. Everyone believes Reirin and the crown prince are the perfect couple, and she is almost certain to become the crown princess. Meanwhile, Keigetsu is looked down upon by many ladies-in-waiting for her appearance and manner, and they wonder why Lady Chu favors her so wholeheartedly. While everyone is mesmerized by the dazzling meteor shower lighting up the sky, Keigetsu quietly approaches Reirin, her eyes gleaming with a chilling intent. Without a single word of warning, she shoves Reirin off the balcony and simultaneously triggers a burst of fire magic, throwing the entire scene into chaos. When Reirin awakens in a dark dungeon, she is shocked to discover her soul has been swapped into the body of Keigetsu. Kasui also sees her as Keigetsu, and coldly declares she will punish whoever harmed imperial concubine, Reirin. Seeing an unfamiliar face reflected in a puddle of water, Reirin fully grasps the truth of this strange body swap. Reirin tries to explain that she is the true owner of the body, but every time she brings up the soul swap, an invisible force stops her from speaking the truth. She shares secrets only she and Kasui would know to prove her identity, but Kasui does not believe her. Because Reirin's diary had been stolen beforehand, Kasui believes Keigetsu is simply using that information to impersonate Reirin, and grows even more hateful and condemning toward her. Reirin is helpless as every explanation is dismissed as a lie. Kasui declares she must undergo the beast trial, a punishment of being locked with wild beasts to judge her guilt. Kasui also mentions that the real Reirin refused to witness the punishment, not wanting to see bloodshed. Reirin realizes Keigetsu is the one forcing her to take her own life before the candle burns out, calling it a final act of mercy for a criminal. In her despair, the candle suddenly blazes fiercely, and Keigetsu appears through the flames within Reirin's own body. She mocks Reirin, then reveals the truth that the Chu clan are descendants of fire, and she herself can use spiritual power to manifest through flames, revealing the origin of her special ability. Reirin realizes Keigetsu is the one who used forbidden magic to swap bodies with her. Keigetsu admits everything, driven by resentment of the injustice of Reirin always being loved and living in luxury, while she herself received only contempt and coldness. Consumed by envy of Reirin's perfect life, Keigetsu decided to make her suffer the deepest pain and despair. Keigetsu reveals she used forbidden magic to prevent Reirin from speaking the truth about the body swap and fabricated the missing diary to cut off every chance for her to prove her true identity. Even while gloating, Keigetsu complains that the new body is too weak. Meanwhile, Reirin still instinctively worries about her enemy's health. This only angers Keigetsu further, causing her to sneer that whether she kills herself or is executed, she will only die in disgrace. Keigetsu then vanishes, leaving Reirin alone in the dark dungeon. Alone in the dungeon, Reirin gradually realizes that Keigetsu's body is completely healthy, free from the fevers and weakness she had before. After checking herself, she is both surprised and overjoyed, experiencing a body full of vitality for the very first time. Though the swap brought one unexpected silver lining, Reirin tells herself to treasure this body and live responsibly until she can reclaim justice and her true identity. In the dungeon, Reirin calmly chats with the rats and insects around her, even catching flies to feed them in return for their past help. When threatened with dying alone surrounded by rats and bugs, she simply smiles, saying it is nothing, for she had long forged an incredibly strong will. The following morning, the beast trial is held before a large assembly of court officials with a ferocious lion waiting inside a cage. The crown prince announces the start of the ritual and asks if anyone dares speak in defense of Keigetsu, accused of harming Reirin, but no one speaks up. Meanwhile, Keigetsu's elder sister coldly states that if innocent she will survive, and if guilty, death is inevitable. Reirin, in Keigetsu's body, is brought out before the beast trial and denies the accusation of harming Reirin. However, the forbidden seal on her neck immediately activates, preventing her from speaking the truth about the body swap. Everyone takes this as a sign of guilt. Even though the crown prince offers her a chance to confess for a lighter punishment, Reirin quietly bows her head and accepts the trial. Before being brought to the cage, Reirin pleads with the Crown Prince to hear her out, but accidentally using the intimate form of address from before only enrages him further, as he believes she stole the diary to impersonate Reirin. In a moment of panic, Reirin accidentally blurts out that she is the villain. Immediately after, the Emperor orders the lion's cage opened, officially beginning the trial by Beast. When asked if she fears death, Reirin calmly replies that fearing a pain not yet come only exhausts a person needlessly. Strangely, the lion does not attack her at all, causing many to start doubting her guilt. However, the Crown Prince refuses to accept this outcome and orders the lion to be provoked, forcing it to attack Reirin. Enraged, the lion immediately charges toward Reirin, sending the crowd into a panic. Yet she remains completely calm, gently stroking and soothing the beast, while noticing the animal is suffering from a health problem. To everyone's astonishment, the ferocious lion quickly becomes docile, lies down, and collapses dead right there in front of everyone. Reirin explains the lion did not attack because it had accidentally eaten a rat that swallowed poison beforehand, leaving its body temporarily weakened. She also advises that the animal should be better cared for to avoid similar incidents. After confirming everything was merely an accident, Seika declares the beast trial complete, and Keigetsu is officially declared innocent. The Crown Prince reluctantly acknowledges Keigetsu's innocence and allows her to remain in the inner palace, but warns she will be executed immediately if she ever harms Reirin. Reirin realizes the prince is perhaps being blinded by lies and holds no resentment toward him. Though mocked as a villainess, she calmly accepts her fate and resolves to keep living on her own terms. After the trial ends, Reirin promises to bring medicine to heal the lion, which causes Seika to begin questioning who she truly is. Reirin simply smiles and says she is no longer the Keigetsu of before. At that very moment, a red-haired court lady appears to escort her back, closing out the episode and opening the door to what comes next. Before the palace gate, Reirin, in Keigetsu's body, meets court lady Riri, who was sent by the noble consort to assist her after she was declared innocent. Seeing Riri dressed in the uniform of a low-ranking female official, Reirin realizes that Keigetsu is no longer treated as she once was. When she asks for her name again, Riri feels hurt, thinking her mistress has forgotten her despite serving her for a full year. Reirin then realizes that Riri is in fact Keigetsu's closest handmaiden, and quietly regrets that Riri has no suspicion of her true identity. Upon entering the magnificent Chu Palace, Reirin in Keigetsu's body intends to pay her respects to noble consort Chu, but Riri informs her that the consort has issued an order confining her to quarters. This leaves Reirin deeply confused, as she never expected the mother-daughter relationship between the consort and Keigetsu to be so cold. Riri insists the consort has always been strict and distant. Yet Reirin cannot bring herself to believe that someone once known for her kindness could treat her own daughter this way. Along the way, Keigetsu is openly mocked and humiliated by the court ladies, leaving Reirin stunned at just how low Keigetsu's standing within Chu Palace truly is. Compared to her own life in Tri Palace, where she was always loved and cared for, the stark contrast makes Reirin realize how sheltered she has always been, and she begins to want to learn how to live more independently. Riri leads Reirin in Keigetsu's body to her new quarters, an abandoned storehouse tucked away in a remote corner of Chu Palace. This makes clear that Keigetsu has completely fallen from grace. Unable to hold back any longer, Riri pours out all her grievances, recounting how Keigetsu repeatedly humiliated her for being the daughter of a dancer. Through Riri's appearance and words, Reirin gradually pieces together Riri's unusual background and understands why she holds such a low rank in the inner palace. Riri declares she will no longer serve Keigetsu, leaving her to fend for herself, and informs her that she has also been barred from attending the Ghost Festival before walking away. Contrary to everyone's expectations, Reirin in Keigetsu's body is actually overjoyed at the sight of the wide open land surrounding the abandoned house. She sees it as the perfect place to grow medicinal herbs and live freely. Recalling the Empress's teachings about the spirit of self-reliance, she becomes even more determined to overcome hardship through her own strength. In the bamboo grove, head autumn official Saiyan and a civil official arrive to check on Keigetsu's situation under Crown Prince Gyushu's orders to ensure she has no further opportunity to harm Reirin. Along the way, the civil official seems pleased, convinced that Keigetsu is paying the price for her past deeds and is surely weeping alone inside the abandoned house. Upon arriving, Seiun and the civil official are both stunned to find Keigetsu covered in mud, yet cheerfully cleaning up the storehouse with her own hands. She explains that Riri is busy, politely invites them in for tea, and declines all offers of help, as she wants to build her new life on her own. Nevertheless, the civil official still believes it is all an act and is certain Keigetsu will eventually return to demanding her old privileges. When Keigetsu finally makes a request, all she asks for is a little salt. She already has rainwater and potatoes, but cannot make salt on her own. This modesty leaves both Seiun and the civil official utterly taken aback. On the way back, Seiun begins to believe that Keigetsu has truly changed after her time in the dungeon. The civil official jokes that it is all thanks to the power of the dungeon, before Seiun reminds him that he just lost a bet. At the Imperial kitchen, Riri pleads for a small amount of food but is flatly refused by the head of the kitchen, who also insults her over her background as the daughter of a dancer. Despite having declared she would no longer care for Keigetsu, Riri is still forced to find a way to get food, because if Chu Palace provides nothing, both of them will starve. Just as she is on the verge of despair, Riri is stopped by Kai Yu, a court lady of the Qin clan, who offers to recruit her. Using sympathy for Riri's background as her reason, she promises Riri status and a prestigious white silk robe if she agrees to betray and torment her own mistress Keigetsu under the orders of Lady Ki Reika. When Riri questions why the Qin clan is targeting Keigetsu, Kai Yu reveals that supporting Reirin is equivalent to winning the favor of the Crown Prince. Riri understands this is a political move by the Qin clan to publicly align themselves with Reirin. When she worries about being punished by the head autumn official for harming Keigetsu, Kai Yu sneers that the same people who banished her to this desolate place can hardly object now. Kai Yu promises to reward Riri if she reports on Keigetsu's situation daily, first offering a hairpin and then switching to a bag of rice to persuade her. Driven by the need to survive, Riri ultimately agrees. On her way back, she nurses thoughts of revenge. Convinced that Keigetsu is suffering in the abandoned house, she is determined to make her kneel and beg to pay for all the humiliation she endured in the past. Back at the old storehouse, Reirin in Keigetsu's body warmly welcomes Riri with a simple meal and proudly shows off the garden she has tended with her own hands. Riri is astonished to see lush vegetables growing in the wasteland, and even suspects Keigetsu used forbidden magic. Reirin only smiles and explains that leftover seeds from the old storehouse took root in the spiritually rich soil of the Lan family's land and flourished naturally, turning the abandoned plot into a thriving garden. Riri remains suspicious of the flourishing garden, but Reirin eagerly points out rare mushrooms and valuable vegetables. She is delighted to finally be able to apply her knowledge of herbal medicine in a healthy body. During the meal, Reirin mentions that some officials in Chu Palace helped provide salt and oil, and casually remarks she had once considered seasoning her food with her own tears before deciding to go and ask instead. When Riri questions whether she is truly still Keigetsu, Reirin only smiles and replies that since the night of the ceremony, she has become a different person entirely. Witnessing this optimism and strength, Riri begins to waver, wondering whether she still has the resolve to go through with her plan for revenge. The scene shifts to Reirin's chambers, where Keigetsu is living in Reirin's body, surrounded by court ladies attending to her every need. Keigetsu is overjoyed at being loved and pampered for the first time in the way she had always dreamed. Yet she still bitterly acknowledges that with her lowly background and only a fragment of forbidden magic, dreaming of a place beside the Crown Prince had always been impossible. Through a flashback, Keigetsu recalls her wretched childhood when her parents took their own lives due to debt, leaving her orphaned and forcing her to become a handmaiden in the Chu household. Though noble consort Chu took pity on her and brought her into the inner palace as a concubine, she still had to endure the contempt of everyone around her, and even the consort could not truly protect her. The stark contrast with Reirin, beautiful, talented, and beloved by all, caused the jealousy within Keigetsu to grow ever deeper until it curdled into profound hatred. Upon learning that Crown Prince Gyoshu is coming to visit, Keigetsu resolves to seize the affection that rightfully belongs to Reirin. In response to the Crown Prince's apology and concern following the incident, she skillfully plays the part of a gentle and endearing companion, prompting him to put his arm around her in comfort and become even more devoted. Inwardly, Kaigetsu is triumphant, convinced that her plan to take over Reiren's life is steadily succeeding. After the Crown Prince leaves, Kaigetsu reasons that keeping Reiren alive gives her a hostage in case the secret of the body swap is ever exposed, since only she knows how to reverse the forbidden magic. However, she is still frustrated by how frail Reiren's body is. At that moment, head handmaiden Toka and the court ladies bring in an array of training equipment, musical instruments, a bow and arrows, dance props, and even farming tools, leaving Kaigetsu stunned and with no idea what is about to happen. Toka explains that Reiren herself once taught that the closer one is to the edge of life and death, the more easily one can push past one's limits and absorb new knowledge. Seeing that Reiren is running a fever, Toka concludes this is the perfect moment for training, sending Kaigetsu into a panic as she scrambles for a way to refuse. She resorts to pretending she has a contagious illness to keep everyone away, but this only moves Toka to tears, who thinks Reiren is trying to protect others, and immediately leads the court ladies off to summon the imperial physician. Left alone, Kaigetsu slowly begins to realize that Reiren is perhaps not loved simply because she is fragile, but because she always gives everything of herself, making those around her want to protect her. As heavy rain pours outside, Kaigetsu curls up beneath her blanket, breaks into tears, and fears she does not know how much longer she can hold on inside this weak body. On that rainy night, Riri quietly watches Reiren in Kaigetsu's body, sleeping soundly in the leaking storehouse. Haunted by past wounds and the temptation offered by the Kin clan, she is torn between betraying her mistress for a better future and following her own conscience. In the end, Riri only gently places the hairpin she was given as a reward beside Reiren's pillow, then silently lets her tears fall, while Reiren sleeps on, undisturbed and at peace,